Minor land disconnection, but we are back here with you. Part 3 of your Endurance 180 round Silverstone. For those of you who do occasionally drop into Retro Stream, you might, if any action you want to catch in this few moments we've been away, you can catch that on Retro's alternate stream, which we run alongside this one to catch things just for these eventualities. But
I mean, if you want to technically think about it, we've done 3 streams and it's a 3-hour race. You've technically done a driver swap or a stream swap for each stint.
Something like that.
There's one way to look at it, buddy.
Yeah. So once again, apologies to the admins and all those who support FRL to bring you this race in. We do our best to deal with the technology that we have at hand, and we carry on. So as we were before, we do have a relatively stretched grid. And no currently close battles from what I can see. Everybody's within only about a couple of seconds of one another. As soon as we pick up a battle, we will absolutely bring it to you. Looks like Sweeney is starting to really run away with this. It's no longer underneath 30 seconds for the lead. It's now up to 34 seconds. HRT Racing are now only 3.5 seconds away from this P2, which seemed unattainable not much earlier on. And Zukowicz in P4, 32.8 seconds after that.
That's where it gets confusing because there's 2 HRT teams. I was like, hang on a minute, they was like 10th a minute ago. How are they in P3? There's 2 of them.
So there's HRT Racing team number 66
to realise that.
and 66 and 33 teams. So yeah, do bear with me and Retro. This is the longest we've allowed up past our bedtimes to bring you commentary action. It's all new to us.
As we say, guys, just £2 a month can sponsor me and Greg to get better lessons, internet, Ethernet cables, to give you the streams that you guys deserve. This fantastic league. So we can't keep up with all the action, but say just a few quid in a pot in the Patreon can reserve your special race number for any of the races that you do want to dip in or get involved in. Any number that means anything special to you or anything that's cool, going sideways around a track or fast down a track, so you get all the juicy action for the league and obviously all the background information, obviously the off-season stuff. So do get involved. If you're not in the server for the Patreon stuff, get involved. Do drop a comment in the stream, so one of the admins will drop you a link for the Discord. But say other than that, get involved.
Absolutely, FRL's got you covered for iRacing, Assetto Corsa, Competizione and on PC, Formula 1, Gran Turismo, WRC, if you name it. If it has wheels and it can be driven on a console or a PC, FRL is your place to be. And also, if you're enjoying the many streams we've put out to you this evening, do make sure you drop a like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. And if you're just watching this back, make sure you like and subscribe as well. Hopefully we caught all the action that you got involved in this evening. I'm currently on board with Calguin for GT Cafe, chasing down Haymans for RW Racing. So McLaren versus Ferrari. And as we come towards the final hour of this race this evening. But Calguin, as he almost runs into the back of it.
Very brave on the brakes there. Just clocked onto that.
So yeah, that's lost him a little bit of time. Maybe a little bit of confidence as well.
And a few pairs of underwear, I think, as well after that.
Absolutely.
we did have Zukowicz back up to P4, and the Mercedes team of HRT 666 into P3, so they did pit. Interesting battle for now, the final podium places, whether there is going to be a final driver swap for this last hour.
I mean, you wouldn't want to be the first one pitting amongst those cars, would you?
No, definitely not. I do believe there's a few lapped cars in the mix there. You've got M. Grace leading, and there's a car in the middle, a pink McLaren by the looks of it. I think the pink McLaren
is that Sharp?
Ethan Hadley, Treadwell, down in P27, who is last, who is keeping up with a guy in P2.
Oh, well, you've got P15's Sharp keeping up with Zwarden. Now, unlike a lot of other formulas of racing, the blue flags are a lot more punchy than you would normally expect if you watch Formula One. They don't just dive out of the way, they will continue. They're very engrossed in their own race, and rightly so. When you can drive back from several hours deep, there's every reason to continue on and push those ahead of you for the lap times. Ooh, as Zwarden cuts ahead of that McLaren that's following him, of Zukowicz. So this is for position. And Zukowicz, gets over the grass, over the curve, and they spin them both! P3 and P4.
Sharp did very well to avoid both of those cars there.
Now they do continue in those positions, I believe.
Yeah.
How's Hitchy Poo's doing? He's on P14, just bounding over the curbs of Maggots. He's chasing down Sproston in Iraq Survivors Association. Zwarden and Zukowicz carry on in the same positions, but no longer in contact with Grace. I mean, they do still have an hour to pull that back, but they'd have liked to have passed already and got away and spent the rest of the hour pulling away from Grace. Absolutely. Well, some great action, a lot of spins, some great fightbacks because of those spins. And there we go, Hutchinson with Sproston going defensive, or at least looking for water.
It was interesting to see. I think Friedman mentioned it at the beginning of the original stream at the start of the race, that the NRW performance team was starting last.
Oh, was Hutchinson's on the grass?
Are a really quick team, and you've got him sitting behind Sween, our current race leader, just giving a bit of a tow towards him. He's currently in P9. He's currently sitting behind our race leader.
So that's it. Obviously, we can't tell that from the
commentary.
Hutchinson and Sproston are both on the dry tyres, I've just been told.
Tazakowski, 999. Bit of issues at the exit of Chapel. It now does let Oleg through.
I found it again. What was it? Apparently the dry tyres that are out there are faster. Despite the rain still coming down, a dry line has clearly been burnt into the track. Lots of rubber down after 2 hours.
Wow. Who'd have thought, eh? Dries faster than the wets.
On a wet track?
No. Oh, we got Zwarden flashing a Ferrari.
I think that's lapping traffic.
That is 104.
P16's Rogers
Ah, Rogers, yes. But Sharp
So
overtaking M. Grace down the straight. But Sharp is, say, unlapping himself, P15.
So very much seems like Rogers, based on the number that's behind him, has the devil on his back.
Oof. Speaking of devil, Grace just had a lucky moment there, dipped a wheel on the grass in the braking zone, still managed to keep it straight.
No, he's got Colpitts ahead of him. P15's no, it's Sharp, same team, I believe.
Yeah, Sharp.
Grace, I think, considering everything that's happened behind him, will be very happy if he can just bring this home in P2. As Gedman calls for grip hacks on Sween.
Grip hacks.
I mean, there's
Brilliant.
some mighty driving if it's called into question grip hacks.
Yeah, the fastest lap still does remain.
Oh, sorry, Retro.
Sween.
We're going to go to Hutchinson, who has just made a big move on Sproston into Maggots. Now to Beckett. Sproston does close back up.
Ooh, was it green Porsche's just gone off? Who was that?
That is car number 4.
Down
yeah,
in P23.
So Sproston can't get anything back on Hutchinson just yet.
Cablo using all of the available track limits.
So now this is the next target for Hutchinson, or Hutchipoo as he keeps getting referred to in the comments.
My phone's just died, so I can't even see it.
No, so the Bentley is always a bit of a question mark when it comes to drivability, but if you can handle it, it does pay you back in spades. As he goes quite deep there, and that's invited Hutchinson in for a chase. 3/10 is the gap as he comes onto the Wellington straight. I don't think the Porsche is going to get him in outright speed, but it's brought this tight section of Brooklands and Luffield into question as he rounds here.
Ooh.
Does very well not to run into the back of him.
So
As Cablo's a bit of a moment.
Get a move there, pretty much free of charge.
Yeah, that small twitch of Cablo just sent it to the outside of the corner, which wasn't initially planned. Now, Hutchinson's going to need a lot of concentration for the next lap or so to try and get Cablo out of just dragging him through. That Bentley, with its foot planted correctly, will fly back past with only a moment's notice.
Indeed it will, buddy, but so you got P9, who is still hanging on to the back of Sween.
Kessel Racing, taking out a few cones. So at this point, we're unsure how hard Sween's pushing. Obviously, we do recognise that he's having to do the entire race basically by himself with a few scheduled stops in between. So maybe he's backed off.
G Brown diving into the pits there.
He's hoping he's not sped in the pits this time. As expected, Cablo's still quite holding on to the back of Hutchinson as he gets a big drift around farm. We've also got Kalugin on the back of Heymans. He's been closing this gap for a while. Heyman's got an unwanted Mercedes ahead of him. He's gone for a big snap. But that's P4. So he won't be able to take him very quickly. That is Warden.
It's interesting as well. You do have Kalugin and Heyman's rounding. Oh, commentators go, oh, he did very well there. Heyman's touched a wheel on an unwanted part of the track. Big reverse entry.
Yeah, we got that on the stream.
There. Oof.
Big loss out there, and that routes Kalugin through. We've just gone back to Van der Waal. He's got Grafe alongside him as they go through. I mean, as they touch. 3 cars wide through farm.
Did very well.
And then, oh my god, 3-car pile up. And it looks like Grafe has managed to come through that the best, but at what cost? How damaged is his car after that initial hit? And it did look like Van der Waal just got a bit too greedy. Really pushed out into Dial's there. He's set to going again, only behind Grafe. He's maintained position behind Dial's. Van der Waal, depending on how he's feeling, might want to punch someone to get that position back. Will he get punchy through cops?
I mean, for all you sport fans, I hope Van der Waal might throw a few punches better than Anthony Joshua last night. But I'm sure the marshals may be protective.
Oh my god! As the car 444 of Keller just lost it on the exit of cops, was sideways before Maggots. Both cars went either side of him as he was completely laid across the track. Van der Waal's got a much better exit than Dial's here. He's already alongside as he comes to Hanger Straight, but Dial's has managed to get Van der Waal commit to the outside, but then Van der Waal, to a lack of speed, has a tuck back behind, but that lack of speed has allowed him to come back to the inside and cuts in ahead of him, ahead of Stowe. Sends Dial's out over the curb. Oh, and Dial's gets a hell of a slide, and Van der Waal goes through.
I think Dial's had to counter Van der Waal going wide there, which caused the initial snap and the spin, or the slide even.
So gone back to Hutchinson, who's got HRT team 33, and he's within 7 tenths as he enters the Hanger Straight.
Oh, we missed this. Zukovic has got past M. Grace.
Something must have happened to Grace. There's now Sword.
He's just a little bit behind.
And there's the car P16 of
That
Rogers
is,
just following him through.
Yeah, Rogers is hanging on to these leaders.
What can Grace do? He's still only half a second behind, albeit ailing from...
Big grass there from Grace. Not what he would have wanted.
And I think Zukovic and that McLaren can really stretch this lead now. Oh, Grace looks like he's having a real handful in that Porsche. If that's how difficult that is to drive, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that in soon. Battles for the final podium positions. Really, really hot here, despite the rain coming down.
There we do have HRT Myron GT just half a second away from Hutchinson.
That's because Hutchinson's just overtaken him.
Ah, never mind.
Covering that just before, when he was chasing him down, so I'm not quite sure where he's made that move. Hutchinson has jumped through there. And he goes to chase down Rodriguez in P10.
Boston is still just under a second from Cablo in the Tic Tac Bentley. Getting all out of shape there, allowing Sproston to close up quite nicely for Chapel.
So Sproston and Cablo, two cars that have very much been in the wars this evening, still holding very, very respectable positions in this race. Oh, who was that?
A Ferrari in the mix. Car 333, the other HRT team. There's HRT Myron.
He's just bleeding positions now. So he was originally ahead of Hutchinson, now he's lost out to Cabot and Sproston. So he's lost 3 positions in little over a lap. Wonder what's going on there.
Not quite sure, buddy.
Maybe this is the dry tyre runners. Just like the rain has picked up a little bit. Sproston, seemingly still on the wet, is
I think the track might be slightly drying, or whether it's just my eyes slightly losing a little bit of focus there. So the track is still damp on my record. No sign of any drying at the moment, but say it does look like it's still a little bit drier in certain parts.
I can't help but think that Sproston is on those wet tyres. Obviously Gedman was telling us that quite a few drivers in the mid-pack at least have gone for the dry tyres, and if it's getting wetter, the performance for those cars will start to drop.
Indeed it is, buddy. You've got Hutchinson all over the back of Rodriguez in the Mustang just before Chapel. So Rodriguez did get a great drive out of it down the straight.
And there's some real power underneath the hood of that Mustang. And this is a section of the track you'd want to be in the Porsche. Yeah, look how much he closes through the tight technical section of Valen Club Corner onto the Hamilton Straight. Ooh, as Rodriguez gets a bit snaky over the blue asphalt that's out on the side.
Yeah, I think you might be right on some of the tyre strategy, buddy, because we just had Zukowicz get overtaken by Rogers in the Ferrari down in P16.
Oh, sorry, as we have Hutchinson took a dive to the inside. He's now had to be forced onto the outside for the loop. Rodriguez has come back through momentarily, but now Hutchinson with the traction on the outside pushes forward, gets a great drive out, as you said. It was just caught Cablo going very deep and onto the grass next onto the Wellington Straight. He's still chasing down Sproston, who he lost position to a few laps ago. Now Heymans has got Kalugin ahead of him, and he's gained a fair bit of time on him, and he's found himself back underneath the second of the car ahead in the battle for P17. As Rodriguez pits. Now what will this trigger, if anything, in the mid-pack? He'd only lost the 1 position out of those he was fighting against.
Oh, Grace is bleeding time. We've got Swarden now all over the back of him. Car 66 on Grace does dive into the pits. So maybe he was one of the drivers that was on the dries.
So Rodriguez seemingly instigating a few driver swaps and tyre changes. Maybe fatigue is just starting to play a factor in this evening. wait to see what the gap is for Sween. I mean, you can see that that's the closest they've been all evening. That's only because that's with the track pinches together.
There's a good fair old while in front of him. I think Sween's just coming down the Wellington Straight now into Brooklands.
Oh, it's the 999 car. Takazowski in a battle with Bauer has just lost it.
That was just directly
Brooklands.
in front of our leader as well. So he's lucky
Just
to
got
have not
a
been
hell of a
collected
switcher
in that. I think Sween is now at the timing line, and Zukowicz is just coming down the F1 straight. That's the gap.
And Takazowski has now come into the pits from P9.
Oh, car 678 Cablo on the grass of the Wellington Straight.
Oh, and he's hit that and some. Look at his bonnet.
I can't quite see the bonnet from my camera angle.
And I think that's let a few cars through. Yeah, there's Sharp and mainly Sharp, I think. Yeah, he's really struggling to hold on to that now.
Oh, car 25 Rodriguez also done the same as Cablo. Maybe the barges aren't sailing. It's another car going slow. I think it's an Aston Martin. G. Harvey in P4.
What a great drive from the R2R team. I'm not quite sure where they started. I'm pretty sure it wasn't anywhere near there. If you don't mind checking on the timetables for his retro.
Certainly can, buddy.
Zukowicz drops into the pits. So I assume
Does it
will be
say
the
where
last
they
time.
started on the timetable, does it?
I do.
Because obviously people have moved and switched and disconnected and...
As Harvey just gets past some lapping traffic.
I mean, I could, if my phone was charged, I could go back to the original stream, but unfortunately, because my USB is plugged into an adapter, because I run a button box, it won't charge my phone. I don't want to miss all the action, trying to unplug it to charge my phone. See, just £2 a month, guys, can buy me a charger so I don't have to touch my rig, all my wires that come out of it, because I'm about an OAP when it comes to technology.
But unlike a standard charity, you will benefit. You will get early access to choosing your driver number, early access into season sign-ups, special events, and as you work up the ladder of the Patreon, you'll gain extra benefits as well, which us commentators don't even know, so they must be good. Stop people just flying in and buying them all up.
Not that we encourage pay to win, obviously, but it's a great service.
As Wazza, who was quite far down the order early on, has found himself also in P4, as we see a car in the background of, I believe that's Kalugin, going backwards. It's car 69. Kalugin, I was right. So he gets going again. There must be some sort of puddle on the Wellington Straight for this to keep happening.
Yeah, you might be right, buddy. I think that puddle is what is separating the dries from the wets, I believe.
Yeah, Kalugin now nowhere near Rodriguez as we wait for the timing screen to update that. Someone who is next to somebody else is Rogers, who's chasing down Masserat. Now, I do wonder if Sween, in all his might, will need to pit again. He's been out there an awful long time. And these cars do not carry infinite fuel. And the tyres do not have infinite tread and performance. And just dropping back off Maserat as we picked him up. We lost a second in that last sector. As Sween has dropped his what are those fish called that swim alongside whales and clean them up? There's a real term for them, like a pilot fish, I believe it's called.
I don't know, buddy. I think that's where you might show your age for that one, I think.
Watch too many David Attenborough documentaries.
Yeah, I thought I'd just try flick through some of the camera just to try give some insight for some of the guys. But say, I think being on spectator mode, we can't see any fuel or anything like that on some of the telemetries, which I thought might have worked. Unfortunately not, so we don't get any sneaky spoilers.
Sorry, Richard, I'm just picking up Grafe being attacked by car 24. Oh, there's a big snap there.
I think it's Jay Mason who just missiled off the track for Village there.
Absolutely. And he wants to be careful because he's got the leader coming through. He does get through.
So once again, Sween is down the Wellington Straight, and P2 is literally just about to come up to Stowe now.
I mean, that's one hell of a lead.
He's got time for a pit stop and a cup of tea.
Oh,
stop go, 37.
That is sharp. Just another brick in the wall. And just another car back in the box.
That's it, another brick in the wall, another penalty to go.
That's really going to hinder that team's ability to pull points out of this. Is it me, or does it look like Mason's trying to attack Sween?
Emphasis on trying.
I mean, he's getting awfully close.
I mean, yeah, he is. I've just clicked onto him. Yeah, maybe, I guess.
And Sween's letting back through.
Oh, he's getting very close to the 488 Ferrari there. Big dive there. I don't really know what to class this. Is this actual racing, or is this just lunacy?
I mean, he's driving with a free spirit.
I mean, I'm all up for all big drift there for Abbey, but I'm all up for racing, but attacking the leader and sending a move like that to then missing the braking point on the Village corner the lap before.
I can't read whatever language that is. As we've got Grave being attacked by Brown here. Grave goes defensive, sends Brown right towards the grass. They're going to enter Brooklyn side by side.
Car 333 HRT has got a drive-through.
Oh, as Brown gets one hell of a snap, trying to come round Luffield. Grave has edged ahead. Brown having regained control of the car. And I think Grave has now gone for the pits with only 39 minutes remaining. We do thank you for your comments in that language, which I'm assuming is Eastern European, potentially. I don't know. So as Grave backs into the pits. We've got the last place car of Ethan Hadley in the Treadbull is chasing down the number 4 car of Handley with the team NLR. They are one of the closest battles on track, but I believe Handley is recently like that. Oh, you are Umarov, are you? You're supporting on Umarov. You know, you could be supporting him, he could be wishing bad things upon him, we'll never know.
We'll never know.
I can't help but think, surely Sween has to pit.
He's got plenty of time to do it.
There's Harvey from second place now pits. And that invites Banging Ducks right back into the mix. Banging Ducks, we've not seen anywhere near the lead for basically since the start. This car's 333 has just got himself a drive through for speed in the pit lane. That's
yeah, no, it was the last given lap, but it's just a reminder. It's already been out for a lap. Car 500, Harvey in the pits, currently P2.
They're saying, isn't 69 in 17th position? This isn't working well. So, for those of you who are familiar maybe with the spectator mode of ACC, it does have to wait for the sectors to go through before it will show us the adequate times. So car 69, as you can see, is now down in P22. So it's not working, it's just a bit slow. Sort of like how me and Retro are towards the end of this stream.
I was going to say it's more like my racecraft, but you beat me to a punchline that was
better. So for P2 in this race, we've now got Friedman in the John Player looking Porsche. Chasing down Bonham as we enter the final 40 minutes of this race. I don't suspect either of these two still need to pit. I think their final driver changes have been done.
Well, interesting, you've got Clayton in P4, right, who is literally sitting behind Sween. But Bonham is in front, Friedman's in front, they're battling on the Wellington straight. But Sween is just coming round farm into village. So Sween has lapped all the way up to P4.
I mean, that's just incredible.
Maybe that's just one of the advantages of just being a solo driver, but say fair play to Sween for being a one-man band. You can't give him anything for that. So Clayton was was currently P2 when he pitted on the fresher tyres for the end. 34 minutes left of this race.
We do have a battle for P4. Wazza is right there with Clayton,
who has also pitted. Sween's in the pits. He has elected to pit.
So I'm going to presume
very close to the wall there. He nearly gave himself extra damage.
So Bonham, who's got Friedman for company, we did suspect so long that Sween had gone for a very, very long stint. Now, we've still got almost half a lap left before Bonham comes round to get anywhere near Sween. And I suspect Sween's going to be moving very, very soon. Probably by the time they come down, Woodcote. No, come down towards Brooklyn. Sorry. As Sween is already up and away. The challengers for the win are still a whole sector behind. he does come out alongside Gerbino, who does give him the space. And I think in regards to Sween, that's all she wrote. Barring a huge accident, tyre blowout, or mismanagement of blue flags, I think he's got this retro.
You might be right there, buddy, but say it's just management till the end now, just to make sure he can navigate the blue flags, not get taken out or caught up in any other action.
Oh, he has got himself quite a good gap. Car 69, where are you? Been requested for a bit more coverage. So obviously we'll come back to you if you gauge a little bit closer with the car ahead. But we are trying to cover the battles as when we can. But it's nice to see you out there, Umarov. All the best. And bring it home nice and safely. We've got Schmidt. Oh, he's just pushed Van der Waal off at the Wellington Straight. Van der Waal comes back onto the track. He's on the outside. Both cars relatively banged up. And Schmidt goes through. And Graves not too far ahead of them. You can see them in the background fighting away. I think Van der Waal is going to be pretty irritated by losing out in such a fashion.
Oh, just to interrupt you, buddy, we've got Cadwell chasing Rodriguez on a Wellington Straight. Was a little bit closer, but the grunt of that Mustang did create a little bit of a gap there for P11.
Yeah, we just caught it coming into Brooklands.
So just slightly behind as well. Still got Friedman chasing down Bonham.
We're going to try and get timed out of when these guys do cross the start-finish line. So Sween simply doesn't want to register. They're not in the same sector.
I think it's just because he's so far in front.
Well, I think it's because he's registering in the next sector while they're trying to count it against the sector they're in. But Friedman really wants his P2. He's lined it up equal in terms of drive as they come out of Chapel.
43 seconds.
Wow. I mean, he's had 3 hours to build that, but without any incident, without any drama, it's easier said than done. Van der Waal back on Schmidt. Comes to Brooklands. Van der Waal gets a bit of a snap, sends himself out wide, but does regain it and does get reasonable traction as he comes through Luffield. Cars that are inside get out of the way. They have the leader Sween coming through as well. But this fight between Schmidt and Van der Waal is very, very punchy. And they have Grafe, who's been closing at a rate of knots as well. Oh, Van der Waal throws one on the inside of Chapel.
Oh, the BMW got very close to Sween there.
Sween, I'm pretty sure, doesn't want to be anywhere near any of this. Oh, Van der Waal very, very close. Holds it as tight as he dares with Sween. And then Schmidt comes back up the outside into Vale. It's allowed to lose slightly out to Grave here. They were much closer to midway through that lap before Sween came through with them. Roberts in his own little personal battle, a bit further behind. Is Jabino in front? And Van der Waal has got past Grave.
If you wanted to get technical about it, 44 seconds is the gap from P1 to P2. If you remember, Zukovic got a stop-go 30 seconds, didn't he, for speeding in the pit lane for the first stint.
Yeah.
So that's what separated P2 to P1 this late in the race.
Oh, the difference, probably a mile an hour or so.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's still 13 seconds to play with, but 30 seconds of that, or more, was because that penalty.
Yeah, I mean, how the pressure that would have been on Sween towards the end of this race if it wasn't for that penalty for Zukovic. I'm just waiting for our timing screens to update. And Van der Waal quite happy that he's now overtaking Schmidt and giving himself some breathing room. Second is the gap. Still doesn't look 100% happy in that car, does Van der Waal, but he's making it work. He's keeping away from Schmidt. Friedman has closed just underneath the second now to bottom. This battle for P2 is still on with only 26 minutes still remaining. It does very much look...
Still no sign of any let-up of rain for the last half an hour, so we're going to get a whole entire wet race.
In the UK, in late September...
Rain? Never.
Never. Oh, as Friedman has had a big moment. He's managed to keep it straight, but he's had to take a cut across the grass. Got car 25, Rodriguez, not too far behind him, which would be quite happy that the blue flag has stayed behind him. But that was a big moment from Friedman. He's only got 25 minutes to close that gap, which is going to be now about 3 or 4 seconds to close Bonham and try and take that P2 that he was up in after for so long. Schmidt and Van der Waal, long-time battlers through this whole race. Still not out of touch, Schmidt. So Van der Waal can't relax for his final stint as he might have wanted to. They've just picked up Clayton. Is back close to Wazza. As R2R closes in on the Dodgy Dogs Racing. What does it look like? He's just getting a bit of a wash on his tyres. Yeah, Clayton definitely looking a bit more confident.
So just slightly behind though, we do have Cablo chasing down the 333 HRT Ferrari in P14. The gap was a lot closer than what it was before. It's just updated as it went over the timeline. It was under a second. It's now gone over a second because the game likes to mug me off. Oh, there's a car backwards. Wazza's backwards. Wazza's backwards.
Yeah, just completely lost it. It seems on the edge of travel. Don't. Be a pretty strange place for Clayton just to rear end him. Back he goes, dropping down the position that promotes Rackut.
That's a name that we haven't said for a little while.
Yeah, he got a drive through, did he not?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so working his way back to P5, clearly showing great pace to still be in that position.
And so, Wazza normally joins us for the commentary in the comments on the Sprint Sunday streams as Missile Dogshaft is his name. He was a missile on the exit of...
Oh, sorry, Retro, we just got Karuna approaching... What's the corner name again? Brooklands.
I just done the same as like Magus and Beckett's corner. I was like, what's the one after that? I've gone blank.
But he has made it. Karuna has got up the inside of Rodriguez into Brooklands and drives away through Woodcote. He's put some decent gap in between him and that beastly Mustang before he heads into Cops. So yeah, the error from Friedman really was costly. He's now 3.3 seconds down on Bonham, who he was literally only 3/10 down from before.
I mean, I don't think the gap's going to matter too much because the gap from Friedman to Clayton is about 28 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, so many of the guys that were trying to chase Sween down got affected by pit lane speeding or track cuts that it's really hindered the fight for the top spot, which needed almost a coordinated effort to take Sween down. The Keller, this late stage, is in the pits. I did see him backwards at one point in the lap. Don't know if it had anything to do with it. Looking like he's going to bring home a decent result here. He's got 4 seconds to Clayton. It'll be interesting to see if he can close that up as the race comes towards a close. There he is in the front of your picture. We'll watch how that develops as the race ends its final 20 minutes. Still no sign of the track being anything less than damp.
Which is fantastic for us because we get to have all the frills, the spills, the spin-its, win-its and bin-its whilst it is pouring it down in British summertime.
There's a Cablo. There's a Ferrari company behind, but I don't believe it's one. As commentators goes, Cablo gets overtaken by that Ferrari, which I believe is a back marker, but yes, they would let him by it nonetheless. That's Mason who's just overtaken him. He's now getting away from blue flags. It'll be interesting if he lets Cablo back by. He was catching him initially. It's come through Cops. Cablo throws it to the inside. He's hoping
I think
blue.
it's going to involve switcheroo here. You've got Schmidt who is in front of Serpentine. But on my
Wazza I can see in the back of the picture. It is. And he's going to get caught up in all this blue flags.
Oh, P7 unfortunately went across a bit of the grass there for Cops. Not quite sure how you lost it there. I went that wide there. The car 368.
So Wazza's going to get G Brown down the straight in terms of blue flags. Unsure if he's also going to get car 114, which is Jay Mason, as I mentioned before. Yep, dives to the inside of him. Now he's got Cablo to navigate. No, it's Bentley on Bentley to get this overtake done under blue flags. G Brown dipping a bit of grass as he goes after Mason, who gets a bit of oversteer around farm. So we'll be looking to dispatch him under blue flags relatively quickly. But we've got Serpentine chasing down Schmidt. Schmidt has really been under the cosh here in this race. I've seen him sideways, I've seen him backwards, we've seen him going forward in the most miraculous way, but it's almost a shame to see him looking like he might potentially drop out of the top 20 here, where he was definitely contending on the outskirts of the top 10 for so long.
Karuna making a move. Or a car. Not sure if that was position or lapping car, not quite sure.
That's Friedman that's behind him. I don't think it's not a move for position, but he's unlapping himself. He is trying to chase down Coldwell, who's ahead of him. I'm not sure
if he's going to before Abbey. So, massive snap on the exit there. They're side by side into Abbey.
Always.
Karuna gets a great drive into farm, sticking his car in front.
Great move. Very, very ballsy. And she's got to escape here with good traction, which she does. And Smith has been overtaken by Serpentine, so he does drop to P20. Omarov is trailing this by 13 seconds, so he'll need quite the drive to bring himself up to top 20 with only 16 minutes left to go. And Caldwell has submitted to Friedman, coming through with blue flags.
So for anyone interested as well, the fastest lap has improved from Sween. It is now a 2 minute 5:9.97.
Wow.
So just dipping into the 205s there.
Just casually in the wet. Oh, that's Friedman! Friedman's round! Friedman has lost it on exiting Maggots. Where's Clayton? Clayton's only just entering Maggots and now Beckett's. So not quite close enough for Friedman to really be bothered by Clayton, but it's a hairy moment for him to get back on track and get going.
Yeah, and needs to dust the old mud on the grass off those tyres very quick and get them fired up if he wants to hang on to that P3.
Yeah, Clayton now at 13 seconds. Don't think he was making major inroads on that, but he might be a bit more incentivised now. He does have a car behind him who's chasing him quite hard. It's the Porsche of number 4, which is Handley. And Brown has re-found Cablo here. And what can he do is, you say it is McLaren, does seem quite a good nick. He's quite safe and shot behind at this stage. And he really has to concentrate on Cablo if he wants to improve his position in the race. Oh, his Cablo goes deep, and his Cablo is off, and there's that loud G Brown through. Now can Cablo do anything to fight this back? I mean, he's not been doing great through that section there, in between Brooklands and Luffield, where you've got to quickly turn your steering wheel over to get the crank for the next slow right-hander. He's coming back quite nicely at Brown. It's only 4/10, which is striking distance for most. Especially if you're that close coming into the hangar straight, which he is.
Oh, Cablo gets a big snap there.
Yeah, I'd love to know what tyres Cablo's still on, because he's definitely struggling. And everybody, I'd just like to say a huge thank you for all of you that have followed us from start to finish, and obviously the ones that have dropped in and out throughout. If you've been driving the race and just want to keep up with the action, or if you're genuine, you just found us on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. It's been a long old race, and as we come to the conclusion, we're going to try and stay concentrated on the cars, on the drivers. So I'm going to take this opportunity while we're a bit of downtime to say thank you so much for joining in with us. Like, subscribe, please share with your friends. Maybe not quite towards the end of the race to share the final few moments if you wanted to with friends and family, but make sure you share the channel. It's a great thing to be subscribed to. We have content coming out all the time, sometimes multiple elements of content coming out on a single evening throughout the week. We change stuff up all the time.
Very late on the brakes there.
Yeah, just really struggling, isn't he? And further forward, Karuna is up besides Gedman, coming into Maggots. Gedman chooses a quite extreme inside. Can't get the turn in with any sort of speed. He had to go defensive to the inside. So unless he can do something on the next straight, he went to attack through Chapel, which wasn't the brightest
Gedman,
idea.
Big snap. So Gedman bleeding time and places once again.
So yeah, played maybe a long pit strategy to get himself up there, but now he's dropping back P11, which is still a good result for Team Meyer Motorsport, I believe.
It's crazy. I think when you look at all the difference between the top three, I think each one of the top three drivers is in at least a different sector of the track.
Well, they weren't originally, they just spanned them to those different positions. I think Sween, realistically, this race should have had a lot more interest on his rear wing. I think there's been 2 or 3 teams which I think really could have taken the fight to him, but have been, like I said, marred by track limit penalties, speed in the pit lane, and Sween's the only one that's really kept it completely clean. Why would he have pitted?
Fresher tyres, maybe? Doing a Danny Ricciardo fastest lap?
Hey, we said we weren't going to speak any of the sport.
Oh, it's been long enough.
Channel 4's been on it.
Yeah, we'll have the omnibus on next.
Sharp has also got ahead of Cablo. Just spotted that one. Timing screens haven't updated yet, but there he is, up into P15. Cablo, who is really starting to suffer position-wise. Serfontaine at the back of Vanderwall, who's had a torrid time this evening. Vanderwall, who's shown great pace in places, but has had definite patches where he's really struggled in the Wall racing team.
Yeah, he's had his fair share of whacks this evening. Bless him. So he's not had quite the race he would have wanted. So we do make a joke about every time that happens he wants to punch a marshal. We do mean that. He will punch a marshal.
Oh yeah, that McLaren doesn't just quite seem like it's all together. Serfontaine looked like he was going to throw a big one in there, heading into the loop. and I think that has compromised him slightly on his exit. Drops a bit further behind Van der Waal, but then Van der Waal, if it's heavy the curve, and that invites Serpentine back up underneath his rear wing.
Just to mention, the gap from Clayton to Friedman at the beginning of that lap was 5.1 seconds, I believe.
Yeah,
it's now dropped to 4.2.
Yeah, that, like I said, that big moment with Friedman at Stowe has really come back to
Clayton
Clayton.
might be listening and heard me talking about him. He did hit the curbing just before the Hamilton straight. Let's say 4.2 is now the gap when it was 5.1 at the start of the lap. He's taken a second out of him in half a lap.
Incredible. So we're still on the mainstream, currently on board with another down to 3 seconds. Wow. When that gets under these 2 seconds, we will absolutely switch to it. There's still time for him to close that gap to a great degree and take the podium away from Friedman. Now we have Serpentine on the back of Van der Waal. Was he almost throws a big dive in there at Stowe, but does the right thing. Van der Waal defended that well, but then goes deep.
2.1 is now the gap.
Clayton really got a bit between his teeth. Friedman is struggling at all with the control of his car. And you can see he can now pick him up in his rear view mirror.
Yeah, he's just crunching him. The fact he was 2.1 at the start of the lap, he's basically within touching distance already.
And that's Rascut there as well. Rascut is only 2.2 behind him. We could have a three-way fight for the podium on the final lap. Now 1.2 and 1.7 respectively. Clayton to Friedman and then Rascut to Clayton. This is going to come down to the absolute wire.
Well, maybe he's starting to struggle as the rain's starting to come down, start a little bit more once again. Friedman's gone wide.
The Friedman gone wide. Does rejoin, doesn't seem to lose too much speed, but it's enough. Friedman was already close. Clayton was already close. Friedman drifts wide. He's struggling. Now, Clayton wants to try and set this up. He is doing. Look, he's gone wide. Going for the cutback.
Oh, Friedman
gets a snap. Now, what has that done to Clayton's speed? Because he may have had to lift out there to account for Friedman.
But this is now allowing Rascut also to join in. He's only 1.4 behind Clayton now. The speed of Clayton, he does get the move into Brooklands. Friedman has to yield.
Now Rascut closing on this as well.
So you've got to be careful. We've got Gedman and Jabinho battling out in front. Gedman dives into the pits with only 5 minutes left.
Well, I do wonder what that's about.
So Rascut is now only half a second behind Friedman. Clayton moves up to P3.
Now Friedman's either on the wrong tyres or he is carrying some form of damage, because this is not the pace that we saw from Friedman earlier on. Yeah, it's like Rascut is actually losing time to Clayton ahead by having to follow Friedman through this section.
Oh, big snap from Friedman there.
Yeah, I mean, look at the speed difference. And he's got it done.
Might be a case of used tyres, I think. Trying to extend a stint or undercut or overcut a stint. That's where they've got it wrong, because that Porsche is sideways out of every corner.
Now Rascut is trying to chase down Clayton, but Clayton's already got Jabinho in the lapping traffic. And now, yeah, even more of it. Clayton, I believe that is 269. That is Coldwell. Time to get out of the way. Also further back, that's Jabinho.
Jabinho and Grafe, I believe. Is it Grafe in the 448?
They're not even racing for
indeed.
position. They are battling tooth and nail, and Jabinho is being double blue flagged through these sections. But Clayton doing a fantastic job of siding through these blue flags. And Rackon has now dropped down to 1.8 seconds as he battles them as well. So a well earned podium if he can keep it from Clayton. But once again, Serfontaine is still trying to work it out with Van der Waal. Van der Waal, who's held on to this very, very diligently. Just great preparatory defensive driving. Who's that? That's Mason off the track with damage. And we see Gedman in the background. Wants to avoid Mason best he can. Everything's starting to come together at the end here. There's only a minute 50 left to go.
Our leader on final lap from race director. He's done 82 laps so far just to start his final lap.
So yeah, we've not given him much attention this evening because he has just been the absolute class of the field. I think it's only right we give him this whole lap retro. So as he comes through Maggots and Beckett's, very controlled. Nothing has touched that car other than a bit of the dirt that's been kicked up from the others that he's lapped. Powers down the hanger straight with only one car in sight. That's 6, 7, 8 of Cablo, who's been in the wars as a gladiator versus a Spartan, and the Spartan man is just absolutely become undefeated around Silverstone. As he breaks into Vale, gives all the curbs plenty of berth. He doesn't need to risk anything anymore. He's got such a gap. He doesn't need to risk the weather. He doesn't need to risk his tyres. He doesn't need to risk lap time to do anything here. As he flies through Abbey, maybe tests the adhesion of his tyres just a few more times. You can take it nice and slow through here. No need to work the steering wheel too much. As he does have to navigate Cablo, who stops on the racing line. So even on his final lap, he doesn't get...
Interrupt you there, buddy. Interrupt you there. Van der Waal and Serfontaine once again. Tooth and nail into Vale. Van der Waal diving on the inside. Spun Serfontaine round.
So, and I'm going to go back to Sween, who's just rounding the final corner. Around Luffield. He's going to cut through Woodcut. The number one car does well. What a performance. What a solo performance. This man did it completely by himself. Everyone else had a team. He's done it by himself. What a win. Racco doesn't look he's going to anywhere near Clayton on this final lap. Bonham from the Banging Ducks. He's only got about a sector left to go. And this is the size of the lead that you're going to get seen shown. That's come from Sween. Got Cablo, who's finished the race just behind him. Followed by G. Brown and Van der Waal, who's going to... Oh, Serfontaine's up on the inside of Van der Waal. He's going to nick it on the final corner. What drama. Serfontaine taking it. He followed Van der Waal for tens of laps. And there we go. He takes it over the line. What a great story that is.
I think it probably might have been Van der Waal giving Serfontaine the place back. So
I'm sure we'll find out later on. Ooh, this car 25 has just been given a mighty penalty. Who's car 25? Driver stint time.
Rodriguez.
Oh, that's going to drop him down. Rodriguez, who fought back so well to get that position, he's going to drop
Was it for
loads.
stint time? He's a one-man band.
Oh,
That might be a glitch.
I'm sure we'll find out.
Because Sween's not been given one.
So as Rackut comes in a well-deserved P4, potentially could have been higher, but there he goes. Friedman just didn't quite have the pace in the end, and he gets beaten by Wazza over the line. Just saw that grey Bentley just pit Friedman. Friedman comes in P6, just didn't have the pace in his final stint. And that is your finishing positions. Just got Mason to come across the line, as everybody seems to be doing some form of donut in the final sec, as Wazza bins it in the wall and tries to take out that Marshall. So there you have it, everybody. We'll just go through the finishing positions for the admins if they need the information. So, Sween, your race winner. Followed by Bonham, Clayton round out your podium. Then we've got Rackut, Wazza, who just beat Friedman to the line there. Noor, who came home 5 seconds down from that battle in a bit of no man's land, with Maserat closely following him towards the end. Fast AR from the HRT Team 99 came in P9. Karuna and Turn 1 Sim Racing in P10. Caldwell, who's involved in quite a few pits this race, in P11. The other HRT team, Team 33, comes in P12. Just another brick in the wall, including a Sharp and Little Colpitts in P13. Rodriguez, due to penalty, which may get investigated after the race, originally came across in P11, now P14, may get corrected. Then Cablo, including Jay Prentice, the Slow and the Furious, P15. G. Brown and Spanu, who had no shortage of incidents themselves, in P16. Serpentine and Heymans, who just got that position off Van der Waal in the end, who was also running as a one-man band. Oh, no, there's two Van der Waals there. P. Van der Waal and Van der Waal. And then, no wonder we saw so much Van der Waal. And then Gedman and Hutchinson in P19 with the Maya Motorsport. Rounding out the top 20 was Ash Smith and Dials in Fenrir Sim Racing. Omarov in car 69 in the GT Cafe with Kalugin, P21. Grafe and Richings in Here for the Gasoline in P22. Keller and Tukulich in P23 for Benzatron 5000. Handley and Bowring and NLR. Townsend and Ethan Hadley in Treadball in P25. Jabinho all by himself in P26 for SBR Banana Racing. And Mason came across the line last with Jay Robertson in GHR K1 Esports car 114. And the Dual Men's Club did not finish the race with everybody else, 40 laps down. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody. It's been one hell of a ride. I'm not sure you can tell my voice is a bit hoarse by now. I ran out of drink about an hour ago. You got any final words for us, Retro?
No, other than thanks for joining, folks. Obviously, technology may not be Greg's strong point or my strong point, but we survived a 3-hour 180 endurance race, obviously a lot longer than what we're normally used to for Sprint Sunday. We get a 20-minute race, quick tea break, then a 40-minute race, but we have smashed out a 3-hour race for you guys this evening. So if you haven't already, or already a part of the Discord, do drop a message on the bottom of this video, and an admin will send you a link for the Discord. Say anything racing, anything like that. We are the absolute best of the business, the FRL even, the iRacing, ACC, WRC, GT7. If it's got wheels and a steering wheel and it goes fast, FRL's the place to be.
Absolutely. So I've been with Fafa, otherwise known as Greg. He's been Retro in Owen, and we'll catch you all back. Maybe another event like this, but definitely for Sprint Sunday, which starts very soon. Have a good evening, guys.
Yeah, take it easy, folks.